Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. For any aspirant preparing for a competitive exam, understanding the terminologies and definitions of a topic before studying the entire subject will greatly help in preparation. Before we get into the terminologies, let us first understand why this topic is important. Do you know? Rivers are like the nerves and blood vessels of the human body. Nerves carry impulses and energy, and blood vessels carry nourishment through blood. In the same way, rivers carry water, nutrients, and life across the land. God designed the earth like a living body. Mountains are the source, rivers are the nerves and veins, plains are the working body, and seas are the resting place. Even lightning follows the same pattern. One source, many branches, spreading energy. If nerves or blood vessels are cut, the body suffers. If rivers dry up, the land suffers. We have understood the why. We will now focus on the what. River. It's a natural stream of flowing water that moves from highland to lowland and usually ends in a sea, lake, or another river, with its source being mountains, glaciers, highlands, or springs. Estuary. It's a place where a river meets the sea. Here, fresh water from the river mixes with the salty seawater, forming brackish water, water that is partly fresh and partly salty. Reservoir. It's a place where river water is stored by blocking the river with a dam. The river flows, then the dam blocks the river, then water collects behind the dam, and thus reservoir forms. Tributaries. These are small rivers or streams that flow into a main river. They add water to the river and help it grow bigger and stronger. Tributaries usually form in the upper and middle stages of a river. For easy retention, imagine the main river as a tree trunk and the tributaries as the branches joining the trunk. Distributaries. These are small rivers or channels that flow out from a main river. They carry river water away instead of bringing water in. Distributaries usually form near the river mouth, especially in a delta, before the river meets the sea. For example, distributaries can be imagined as an inversed tree. So, in essence, a tributary adds water to a river, and a distributary divides water from a river. River basin or drainage basin. It is the entire area of land from which a river and its tributaries collect water. It is also called as a catchment area. Think of it as a big bucket collecting rainwater. That bucket is the basin. A riverbed. It is the bottom surface of a river over which the water flows. It is made of sand, soil, pebbles, or rocks. Imagine as it is the bed that river sleeps. A river channel. It is a natural path through which a river flows continuously or temporarily from its source towards its mouth. A confluence. It is the point where two or more rivers meet and flow together as one. River deposition. It is the process by which a river drops or lays down sediments, meaning sand, silt, or pebbles, when its speed and energy decreases. Floodplain. It is a flat, low lying area along the sides of a river that is formed by river deposition and gets flooded during high flow or floods. Backwaters. It is when the river stays still when it is blocked near the sea. Meander. It is a bend or curve in a river formed when flowing water erodes the outer bank and deposits on the inner bank. Oxbow Lake. It is a U shaped lake formed when a meander curve gets cut off from the main river. A river bank. It is the land along the sides of a river that contains and guides the flowing water. Waterfall. It is water falling down from a height in a river. A river valley. The land between hills through which a river flows. A V shaped valley. A narrow valley formed by river erosion. A U shaped valley. A wide valley formed by river erosion. A rapid. It occurs in the upper course of a river. It is a fast flowing, turbulent part of a river where water rushes over rocks and a steep slope. A levee. It is a natural raised bank beside a river formed when floodwater deposits soil. Alluvium. A fine soil deposited by a river. A gorge. It is a deep, narrow valley with steep, rocky sides formed by a river cutting the land over a long time. Rills. A very small stream formed by rainwater. Headwaters. It is the place where a river system begins, typically where water first starts to gather into a flowing channel. A water divide. It is an elevated area of terrain, such as a mountain, hill, or plateau, that separates neighboring drainage basins. Now let's look on the three stages of a river. The first stage of a river is the upper course or the youth stage. It is also known as the birth stage of a river. It is found near the source, usually in the mountains. Here the slope is very steep, so the river flows very fast. In the upper course, small streams join the main rivers as tributaries, increasing its volume. Because of this high energy, the river mainly cuts the land vertically. This is called vertical erosion or cutting downwards. As a result, the river forms narrow, deep channels and V shaped valleys. Landforms like waterfalls, rapids, and gorges are common here. The river carries large rocks and boulders. An example for this is the Upper Ganges in Himalayas. The second stage of a river is the middle course or the mature stage. It is found in the plains or gentle slopes. Here, the slope is moderate, so the river flows at a very moderate speed. In this stage, the river does two main things. It erodes sideways and transports sediments. Because of side erosion, the valley becomes wider and the channel also becomes wider. The river starts bending, forming meanders, and oxbow lakes begin to form. The river carries smaller pebbles and sand. A good example of this is Ganga in the northern plains. The third stage or the last stage is the lower course, is found near the mouth of the river, close to the sea or an ocean. Here the land is almost flat, so the river flows very slowly. Since the river has very little energy, its main work is deposition. The valley becomes very wide and flat, forming a floodplain. The river channel is very wide and deep. Large meanders, oxbow lakes, and floodplains are common features. In this stage, the river carries and deposits fine silt and clay. forming deltas. As the river approaches its end, it breaks into many smaller channels called distributaries. Here, the river finally ends in the sea or ocean, and due to heavy deposition of sediments, a delta is formed. Examples include the Ganga Brahmaputra Delta. The next video will be a map revision of Indian rivers. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching. Enjoy learning.